Thank you very much. Thanks for coming to the to the 1 year anniversary of the Hulme Take the Knee. We started 1 week after George Floyd was murdered, and we've been here every week since then, whether it was New Year or Christmas week, whether it was in the pouring rain. There have been people of Hulme and surrounding come and shown their continued opposition to racism, to the police murder of black people, to the police discrimination of black people, of the continued discrimination in education, in health services, in workplaces, everywhere, that we stand in absolute opposition to. And we will carry on, black and white, together, saying that we will be here until the racism that we oppose has gone away. I did have a look through all the things that we've done in the last year, and some of them were quite interesting to remember. It's quite a long list. So before I do them, I'm just going to ask our councillors who've been here from the very beginning, from week 1, who've come when they can, who've been loyal supporters. So to both Annette and to Leanne, we say thank you very much. Thanks for the support that you've had. And if you want to say a few words, that'd be brilliant.
I'd like to say a big thank you to you all. Without you doing this every week, we wouldn't have the recognition and bring to place things that have happened. I'd just like to credit 2 of the people that have taken part and helped Karen, Lamin and Jeff. We have now got a presentation of the boxer Len Johnson that will be going into schools, and we are asking that every school in Manchester will show the play which shows the discrimination and racism that Len suffered when he was a boxer. And also that we are working with Manchester University with Jeff, that we have got lesson plans for Key Stage 3, Key Stage 4 on Black history based on Manchester, because we can't address the national one, but we're trying to, and we're really getting out there. So without you doing that and being involved, we wouldn't have secured that. And I am now the race lead for women for Manchester City Council, and will carry on the fight to make sure that Manchester City Council challenges racism and everybody that it works with. Thank you very much, and thank you for all your hard work.
Yeah, I just want to echo what Leanne said, that thanks to everybody who's been involved in this. I think lots of places started doing protests like this a year ago, and I'm not sure how many places have kept them going all year. And we have been with you from the start, but we haven't been with you every week in the cold and the rain and the dark. And some of you have every single week for a year, and you should be dead proud of yourselves. I think Leanne's touched on some of the things that have come out of this, because it's not enough just to have a symbolic protest. We have to do other things as well. But if we're going to have an ongoing symbolic protest, I can't think of a better place to do it than here on Stretford Road in Hulme, because we've got a really diverse community here who all want to live together, get on together, not let anyone divide us, because we might look slightly differently from each other. And whether it's the kids who were playing outside Leanne's house, getting some of the green spaces sorted out this morning, or whether it's this protest here of strong defiance, one of the things we can do here in Hulme is just keep sticking together, because that's what some people don't want us to do, and that's why it's so important that we do it. And I think that's why it's so important that we keep this symbolic protest going. We'll come along whenever we can, but whether we're here or not, we know that some of you will be here, and keep going with it. And thank you very much for everything that you're doing.
Thanks very much to both Annette and Leanne. I think the support's been absolutely amazing. They mentioned Lamin. I've got a message from Lamin. Lamin's working away at the moment. He's a bit upset that he's missed both the anniversary of George Floyd's murder and the anniversary of us taking the knee here. But he sent a message saying, 1 year on from taking the knee, well done guys. I've only been away for a few weeks, but it feels like it's been months. I just wanted to say how amazed I am we've kept the momentum going for so long, and it's down to every single person in this group who's taken the knee at some point or another. Let's keep pushing up the conversations, let's keep pushing for change. This group has given me so much energy and drive and fighting back. It's great to be around like-minded people, the community community spirit is unbelievable. Big love, guys. I'll be thinking of you all, and more importantly, George Floyd at 6 o'clock to remember why we're still doing this. So that's a message from Lamin, who can't be here today. He's in Hull working, but to say he's one of the founding members of the You Take the Knee. I can see a few founding members back. I also see people who joined us throughout the year, and I think we've had so many people come through. It's been fantastic. I don't know if anybody else wants to say anything while I just have a look through and find the list of achievements that we've had. Does anyone want to speak while I do that? Anyone want to say anything? Go on.
So yeah, I just wanted to first of all give you an all-round applause.
Go backwards, near the tier.
First of all, just a round of applause for you all. It's been a good year of doing this. All new people or older people who've been here, it's been great. Just when we was doing a kneel there was a car that drove past and they had their middle fingers up at us. So it's one of those where you take it on the chin, you realise there's still work to be done, but the fact that we come here every week, like, it shows that we're doing something positive, and it's about inspiring people. And I found doing this every week has been like it's been a good place of education, and I've learned a lot doing like speaks on the Romanian people and like the Travellers with Adelaine Johnson. So I just want to say, like, well done to you all. The year's been good, great, and yeah, here's to many more, hopefully. Thank you.
Brilliant, thanks very much. I just wanted to list some of the things that we've covered in the last year, both in terms of anti-racism and solidarity work that we've done. On the 21st of April, the murderer of George Floyd was found guilty of murder, and I don't think that would have happened for that police officer to have been found guilty had there not been protests like ours around the world to say we're no longer putting up with that sort of murder going unpunished, and we want it to stop. There's been the fantastically successful Len Johnson play that Leanne spoke about that's going to be shown in all the schools, but there's also a campaign for a statue of him in the town centre and a celebration of him not just being the victim of racism, where at the time when he was a boxer you were not allowed to be a British world champion unless both your grandparents were white. All four grandparents were white, and you just think to actually have that in writing as part of the rules of your sport is an indication of how things have changed, fortunately for the better. But that was the life he faced. But he also helped to break the colour bar in the Old Abbey pub, which is just down the road, where there was a really good meeting and celebration of Len Johnson's life about 6 months ago. There's inclusion in the Manchester School Black History now, and his story will be told to all the school children of Manchester in the future. But there's also been pressure on police and highlighting the use of ongoing disproportionate use of handcuffs, tasers and COVID fines of black and brown people. There's the support and solidarity for people's struggle, whether it was Shukri Abda, the school student in Bury, who died after drowning, or Mohammed Hassan, who died after being arrested in Cardiff as he came out of police custody. We had a speaker from Nigeria talking about people resisting the undemocratic police attacks on protesters there. We celebrated the International Roma Day and stood together with Gypsy Romas and travellers who face horrendous discrimination, often really open and disgracefully confidently by governments and by people in the establishment who still seem to think that it's acceptable. We've supported health workers and care workers who were fighting for PPE. We supported the Rolls-Royce workers who successfully went on strike to save their jobs. We've supported school students who were fighting for their right to express their outrage. We've supported university students who were scapegoated and locked into their halls, who were racially profiled when they wanted to fight back and resist. And we've supported them later when they were occupying to get their rent rebates. We've done solidarity with those with mental health difficulties, and we've exposed some of the racism within the mental health system and the health system generally. Facts like you're 6 times less likely to get painkillers if you're a black child and you suffer an appendicitis. And that's just quite a horrendous figure when you think that the stereotypes of black people revert to you don't even give black children in pain painkillers. We've done solidarity with teachers, with school workers, with parents and teachers, fighting to not be able to return until it's safe. We've opposed the new police crime courts and sentencing bill, defended the right to protest. protest, supported Gypsy Roma traveller communities who will be facing more attacks under that bill, and we fought for no more powers for the police, no increases in sentences. We did solidarity with health workers who were fined for organising a protest against the 1% pay offer, and we're hoping to get some good news on that story from the police, so just watch this page. We offered justice to Daniel Atkinson, the ex-footballer who was kicked to death by a police officer who's been in court recently. We were campaigning for people to have the vaccine right across the world, not just in sort of rich countries, but for people in poorer countries, for the patent to be taken off vaccines so that everybody can have it and be protected. We expressed outrage at the Sewell report, which suggested that institutional racism has gone away. Should have really been called the Sewer report, not the Sewell report, because that's where it belongs. We campaigned for the £20 uplift in universal credit to be kept, and for Marcus Ratchford's campaign for children to get dinner money during school holidays. Whilst the Tories seem to have money for the rich to eat out to help out, they didn't seem to have money for the poorest children to actually eat anything. We've opposed deportations, which sadly have accelerated as this vicious Tory government's continued to scapegoat people, including celebrating when the plane to Jamaica that was going to deport people was stopped. We collected clothes for Calais at Christmas. We've been on anti-Trump protests. We fought for the proper test, track and trace, for full support for those who need to isolate, often black people who can't afford to. We've done a cavalcade for zero COVID. We've done Workers' Memorial Day to remember the dead and fight for the living. We've supported people at work who are fighting for safe workplaces. We've supported the fight not to cut the furlough scheme, which was another campaign that we won and forced a U-turn on the government with. We had a brilliant talk about the racist criminalisation of drill music. We've had solidarity with the man who was tasered at the garage in Stretford. We've done Emancipation Day celebrations, and I forgot this, but we actually wrote letters to all the local schools just about 11 months ago, asking them about what Black history they were doing, and I think that's helped to take us to where we are today. We've had a joint demonstration where we met the Stretford Take the Knee protest and met somewhere in the middle and had a fantastic rally there. And I'm sorry if I've missed anything else out, but actually in a year, I think that's a pretty solid list of things that we've done. And I think we have to give ourselves a full round of applause for all that action that we've taken. One of the things I think we should discuss is whether we want to continue, because obviously I think during lockdown, for me, this has been one of the highlights of my lockdown, where we very safely but very persistently and resiliently continued to protest. And when it wasn't possible to meet up with people anywhere else, and lots of people felt very isolated, being able to find people of like minds, people who wanted to change the world, people who wanted to stand together. I've met loads of great people who've lived in Hulme a long time, and I think that will stay with us. But I think we have to decide, do we want to carry on doing it every week on the Wednesday, or do we want to move to something like once a month, maybe do it on the first Wednesday of the month at 6 o'clock, and maybe look at trying to book one of the rooms either in the Zion opposite or at the Church of the Ascension, although I don't think it's called that now, but the church that was just along there, and maybe have a meeting about what we can do about racism, and take the knee first and then have a short meeting afterwards and work out what we can do. So I don't know what people think about that. It'd be useful if people just said or came and spoke, or if they've got anything that they want to say, poetry or songs or just how they felt over the last year. I just think this has been really, really meaningful for people.
Once a month. This is my reading in the first line.
You have to come and say because people can't hear. You have to stand quite near it or else you won't pay attention. Cheers.
Yeah, just saying, I think the once a month thing actually works. When we do the once a week, it's great, but when you do once a month, I think the numbers will be better. I think it's been a year on now. It's not time to stop, but I think it's time to have more time of reflection on what we can do elsewhere, and then yeah, the once a month, we can get bigger numbers on the once a month, keep spreading the positivity, and hopefully just win this battle that we're in. But yeah, I don't know how everyone else thinks it. Like, It's completely, because if everyone wants to do it once a week, I'm here every week. That's no problem, but it's on the majority of what everyone else wants, really.
Anybody else got any thoughts, any views, anything they want to say? Doesn't have to be about that, can be about anything. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, Karen, I would say it's a good idea to meet maybe once a month, and then, but still keeping the momentum going. That's the one thing I think we need to be doing. But I think someone hasn't been thanked today, and I think we started off in Old Trafford. They're fantastic. But I think the one person actually who's talking at the moment, who I just think has been absolutely amazing, is Karen, and I think Karen does deserve a round of applause. You know, she faced the £10,000 fine, and she's fought for our NHS. More than our government. I think Karen is the one that deserves a round of applause. Sorry, I know you cheer everyone else on, and I think it's you that deserves it. You know, you've been an inspiration, I think, to everybody here. You really, really have. You've actually really touched me, because I think you're such an amazing person who fights for everybody else that fights here. You come here every week, rain or shine, and you have got everybody back. And it means so much, so thank you, Karen. I did have a little bit of a poem, but it's a bit jumbled and mixed together, but I'll give it a shot. This is my thoughts on our government and where we're at the moment, and this is why I think we need to keep fighting. As far as our government's concerned, if you're deemed powerful, come back in their pockets and make them rich, they will have time for you. Yeah, if you're living in buildings with illegal cladding, our government doesn't care if you're bankrupt or lying in the ditch. Have you ever watched Boris delivering his speeches? He can't look in the eyes as he tears people's lives to pieces. Stormzy warned us with Vossibot all of Boris's false promises and non-compliance. So it's funny we're taught in society about music is to blame for our defiance. They don't want to feed the nation's poorest kids, but you have no problem buying you and your rich firm's takeaways at 43,000 quid. Matt Hancock gives out contracts like it's going out of fashion. What was the public's cost of his pub lord's last ration? Blatant misuse of public funds time and time again. But you think it's okay to offer the NHS a 1% pay rise then? Now, if I was to go and steal or borrow money from my place of work, it wouldn't be a case of a few people in government going slightly berserk. I would lose my job and would get arrested, yet Boris has a mini tantrum and therefore isn't means tested. Boris thought hiring Pretty would make him appeal to the Asian market, so much so they buried the bullying allegations against her underneath the carpet. If we had a lockdown and drove more or less blind, the police would condemn us fast. Yet our government can't understand why Dominic's antics had us all aghast. Now Boris and Dominic have fallen out, each to the shade. Maybe start by running the country instead of this childish tirade. Did Boris really think that you and me would listen to Michael Gove on TV? It's not like he visits Manchester in sunshine or rain. He'd rather party in Westminster snorting cocaine. You let neo-Nazis in your police force and only fire him after final warnings. Shouldn't be one. And a disabled girl who was black found herself beaten with over 30 times in a police attack. So our government, who expects us to respect them when they lay down the law, tell them we'll respect them when our government isn't rotten to the core. Amazing as ever, thank you very much indeed. Anybody else? Anybody else got anything to say? Anybody
anyone to? They're very welcome. Do you want to say something? Go on.
No, you go first.
Everyone's tired of hearing me.
So I'm from Manchester. I was born here, raised here, and I moved to Bristol a couple of years ago, and I've been more involved in like All Lives Careers in Bristol. So it's nice to just be walking back coincidentally, and here you are just out here. You've been here all year. It's so nice to hear about all the things you've accomplished this last year. So I think I'm gonna like share a piece that I wrote and shared at the Bristol protests, if that's all right. Okay. It's so much scarier in your own hometown. Like, I walk past these people in the street, they're lonely. Okay. Black people are hurting. They done been hurting. Black people are crying. Brothers and sisters dying. Constantly fighting. Constantly fighting. Younger than me, older than me, my children and parents, you see. Black people are hurting. We done been hurting. Black people are crying. Brothers and sisters dying. Justice is to be taken. It will never be given. Because to them we are not worthy of compassion, of humanity, of life. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Brilliant, amazing. Where did Layla go?
Okay, I'm going to keep it short because I think, you all heard from me. The only thing I do want to start by saying is well done to everybody. I mean, can't stress that enough. When you think about how much the movement has achieved over this last year, it's absolutely phenomenal. We started by talking about the fact that the police officer, the murdering police officer, was actually found guilty. That is an absolute historic moment that would never have happened if it wasn't for the international movement out on the streets. Let's be very, very clear about that. But it isn't just about that. The fact that we in Britain have changed the narrative, the fact that we talk about, and the movement says it, they use this language, that the UK is not innocent. That is because of what we have done and kept doing, and I think it's really important to say that. You know, the fact that we talk now openly about the idea of institutional racism, structural racism within British society, the fact that we, you know, talk about what we need with regards to the criminal justice system and the fact that it impacts the black community the way it does, the fact that we talk about the structural racism within our education system, the fact that we accept the structural racism within the medical health services, it's a real reflection of what we have done over this last year, and I think we absolutely need to continue to build on that work. So on one hand, yes, let's celebrate all the victories we've had, and it's absolutely fantastic to see you all here today, and I think it's great that people are talking about continuing this group. People have talked about once a month. I think that's a great idea because I think unfortunately people are having to go back into work, go back into offices. I think one of the reasons why this group has kept going is because it's so rooted locally in the community. But unfortunately there will be times when a lot of us are having to travel to work and all the rest of it, so it won't be as easy to come out on Wednesday. But to come out once a month, I think the idea of the first Wednesday is something that we can all remember and keep in our heads and focus on. And then to use that as a way of getting together and having a meeting and discussion about where we want to take the movement forward, I think is absolutely fantastic. One thing I do want to just highlight though, we have an event coming up on the 4th of July. It's a Sunday afternoon and it's going to be a regional conference for Stand Up to Racism, and it's an opportunity to bring all the local groups together, all the different campaigns together, talk about what we've achieved, but also to plan on a wider scale what we want to do going forward. And I want to invite everybody to watch out for that. There are emails that will go out from Stand Up to Racism. It will be on the WhatsApp groups, both the Greater Manchester one and hopefully on the local groups as well. And we want as many people involved in those discussions the movement is only as strong as the people here involved in it. So I do want to encourage everyone to continue that involvement and help build the movement. But let's really, I think more than anything, one thing we take away from this last year is that there is real change out there and we can actually see it in our lifetime. So let's continue the fight.
Thanks very much. Anybody else? Anybody got anything else they want to say? Nobody? Right, well, thank you very much. Thank you for the last year. I think we have been absolutely amazing, and we will be back on the 7th of July, which is the first Wednesday of the month, and we will be here every first Wednesday of the month. Hopefully, as soon as our racism's gone, we can stop, so not for long. But we will still be here fighting as long as there's any small remnant of it anywhere. So we will be here on the 7th of July, 6 o'clock, to take the knee, followed by a shortish meeting in order to work out what sort of campaigning we want to do. And I think we should think about maybe doing a summer music fete here, sometime later in the summer, in order to do a Love Music, Hate Racism festival, which I think would be a fantastic idea here. And maybe we could use that meeting on the 7th to try and plan. Don't let me have anything to do with the music, or otherwise nobody will come. We need people who actually are good at music and are better to be part of that. So on the 7th of July, 6 o'clock, we'll take the knee, and maybe we'll plan for a Love Music, Hate Racism festival here over the summer to try and see what we can get. If people have any plans or any thoughts about that before, maybe they could put them in the WhatsApp group. If you're not part of the WhatsApp group and you want to be, then come and see me and I can put you in the WhatsApp group so that we can keep in touch. But we will be here now on the first Wednesday of each month at 6 o'clock, followed by a short meeting. Thank you very much. Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter!
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 Thank you very much, and see you